It'll be no wonder when the next neo-Nazi march will come. Some may argue that this is a neo-Nazi rally happening every time we convene in this body. But what we have to call attention to,
There's objection. Who was the one that shouted objection? Representative Zachary. No, they said objection. I did. Representative Zachary.
Mr. Speaker, I object to the vile things that were coming out of the representative's mouth. He literally disparaged the entire body, and the entire body, both parties.
Mr. Clerk, are you calling the member to order under Rule 19, Representative Zachary?
What did he ask? I'm sorry, Speaker.
Are you calling the member to order under Rule 19?
Yes, calling the member to Rule 19. Yes, sir.
All right.
A couple weeks ago, I was walking a few blocks from the Capitol and was confronted by a neo-Nazi march of neo-Nazis holding swastikas just blocks from the Capitol. And what they were chanting is related to this bill. They were chanting, "Save the white man, deport all Mexicans." Save the white man, deport all Mexicans. That's what these neo-Nazis were chanting. When I see this resolution, I see a political megaphone being given to those neo-Nazis and white supremacist groups who are afraid that America is changing, that it's becoming more diverse, more multiracial. And just last week, we passed a resolution saying that we are a state that loves our neighbors. If you love your neighbor, you don't build razor wire to keep them out. If you love your neighbor, you don't put them in camps and separate them from their children. And to the sponsor, I think it is so inconsistent for you to stand here and offer this resolution, because when I hear the name McCalman, I don't hear a Cherokee name. I don't hear a Choctaw name. I don't hear a Yuchi name or a Shawnee name. I hear a European name, which means your people came from somewhere. Now imagine if they were met with a wall instead of the Statue of Liberty. Imagine if they were met with razor wire instead of welcome. But instead, we have people here who forgot that they too were once immigrants, that their ancestors, unless you are Cherokee, Choctaw, Shawnee, Yuchi, you're not from Tennessee. You're not indigenous here. And so I ask my colleagues to put away this resolution and pick up a mirror and remember where you are from. Exodus says you are not supposed to oppress the foreigner or the widow or the orphan, for you were once foreigners in the land of Egypt. And yet here we are today, inciting white supremacist neo-Nazis to come and say, welcome to our state. We're going to say the same exact thing that you say. We're going to do the exact same thing that you do and target immigrants and marginalized communities. And then we question why neo-Nazis are marching outside the Capitol. Let's remember that this body, that words and rhetoric have consequences. Let's remember that what we're doing in this body is sending out a welcome mat to white supremacists and white nationalists and neo-Nazis to come to Tennessee. Because if they hear the same exact thing from the sponsor of this bill that they're saying, they say, well, maybe this is the state we should come to. But I know this, is that one day people will look on what we're voting on here, everything we voted on, and say we were on the wrong side of history as a body. That this bill is about deflection and deception and distraction. This bill is not about keeping anyone safe. This bill is about beating up on vulnerable people who are migrating, who are refugees, who are seeking asylum, which is a human right. And so I ask my colleagues, Representative McCalman, think about your ancestors. Where are they from? How did they get to Tennessee? And imagine if they were met with the same vitriol that you're putting in this resolution. Imagine if they were called illegal immigrants when they were really children of God. No one is illegal on stolen land. That wall you want to build is crossing indigenous land. That wall, those arbitrary borders you want to build is crossing indigenous land. Some of the folks coming across the border are indigenous folks just trying to reunite with their relatives and family. And so once again, we stand on this floor offering no solutions, offering nothing of substance, but just offering fear-mongering and hate. And that poison has poisoned the body of our politics, that poison, that red meat of racism that we're feeding these white supremacist groups. It'll be no wonder when the next neo-Nazi march will come. Some may argue that this is a neo-Nazi rally happening every time we convene in this body.